Welcome back to another episode of Offbeat Adventures. We're standing here once again on the grade of the former Grand Trunk Pacific Railway and later Canadian National Railways-Raith Subdivision. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere. We are just east or south of the former station at Sowden, which is just up ahead. We're just north of Squedunk Creek and west of the English River. So what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be picking up right where we left off from the hike that we did yesterday. So I literally parked the truck right here, and we're going to be working our way about 8 miles, technically north, but according to the railway, kind of west. And we're going to be going up to Percy's Bay on the Mattawa River and or the Mattawa Lake, and very close to the Eva Lake Bridge. Here you can actually see, it's kind of hard to see, but you can almost kind of like make out like these lines where there would have been ties. You can kind of see all these little sort of indentations. Okay, let's get rolling here. So it's a beautiful day today. Unfortunately, it's super sunny. Can't control the weather. It was better yesterday. We had cloud for a good chunk of the day, kind of cleared up right towards the end of the hike. Tomorrow's supposed to be cloudy. So what we're going to do is there's some spots that we're going to come back tomorrow and redo some of the rock cuts and things, because you're not going to be able to see them very well. Okay, so we're almost at the siding here at Sau-den. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the history lesson. I forgot yesterday. I got like, I don't know, 5 videos in or whatever it'll be, and I forgot to talk about the railway line. So this line was constructed by the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway between 1905 and 1908. It was going to be part of a plan by the Grand Trunk Company, which was one of the oldest railway companies in Canada, to construct a second transcontinental railway across Canada. Interrupt myself here. So here you can see they've most likely dug ballast out of here, probably when they were building the railway line. Might be hard to see the east side. Now, so again, the Grand Trunk Company, which was one of the oldest railway companies in Canada. Now, Grand Trunk wasn't too keen on sort of constructing this railway line, you know, by themselves. They had seen the challenges that the Canadian Pacific Railway had gone through constructing their lines, the expense, the difficulty. So they tried to essentially form a partnership with the Canadian government, and so negotiations went on for years and years and years between the company and the government, trying to hash out some sort of plan regarding the construction of this line. It took a while, but they finally came up with an agreement. So around here somewhere is the start of the siding here at Sau-den. So anyway, so construction began in 1905. This was actually one of the first sections that saw construction begin on. And so again, this line was completed between 1905 and 1908. So this was a branch line. So the whole purpose of this line was to give the system access to Lake Superior, because the line ran far to the north. So the agreement between Grand Trunk and the Canadian government was that Grand Trunk was going to build the western portion of a transcontinental line. Sorry, we saw this yesterday. You see these little spots here where it's almost got hit by a microburst, and it just freaking flattened all of the trees. So Grand Trunk Pacific was going to build the western portion of the line, everything from Winnipeg to the west coast at Prince Rupert under the name Grand Trunk Pacific, and the Canadian government will build the eastern portion from Winnipeg to New Brunswick under the name National Transcontinental. Now, so again, construction got started on many of the pieces 1905. Eventually, the line was completed, and again, the arrangement was that Grand Trunk was going to operate its line, the GTP, and also operate the NTR, the Canadian government portion. Well, when the time came Grand Trunk basically backed out of the agreement. So here you're going to see a bunch of camps along the east side of the grade. So they backed out of the agreement. So now the Canadian government was kind of stuck because essentially they had a railway line with nobody to operate. So what they did was they basically created their own company. So they created what became known as the Canadian Government Railways to operate the line. Now this line again was a branch line. Because it connected to the NTR, it was leased by the Canadian Government Railways from Grand Trunk Pacific. And so the name of the line changed. It had originally been the Lake Superior branch or the Lake Superior division of Grand Trunk Pacific, and it became the Fort William and Raith subdivisions of Canadian Government Railways. And that continued for the next number of years until late 1918, when the Canadian government decided to merge, amalgamate, whatever you want to call it, the Canadian Government Railways with Canadian Northern Railway. And that merger amalgamation created Canadian National Railways. And so that came into effect in January of 1919. So the name of this line changed. It became the Fort William and Raith subdivisions of Canadian National Railways. We're going to hold up here. And later that year, the name changed again. It became the Lake Superior subdivision of Canadian National Railways. Now, shortly thereafter, Canadian National began looking at their lines going west out of Thunder Bay, which at the time was Fort William. Essentially, they had a duplication. They had two lines that were running the same route for about 30 miles. They had this line, and then they had the former Canadian Northern line, which had become the CN Kashabawi subdivision. So just relax, Loon. So what they decided to do was they were going to consolidate the lines. They were going to double the Kashabawi subdivision, which had the better route, and double it to a place called Kongmi Junction. And then there they were going to build a bridge across the Matawan River to link into this line. And so what would happen is the two subdivisions would share that trackage, that double line to Kongmi Junction, and then they would split. And so then this line would continue on along its original route. So in 1924, the name of this line changed once again. Sorry, 1922, the name of this line changed again. It became the Graham subdivision. And in preparation for the big change in 1924, the name of the line changed again. It became the Crest and the Graham subdivision, with the Crest basically being the 30 miles of the original line from Fort William to the north side of the Matawan River. That was going to be abandoned. And so in the spring of 1925, the name changed again. It became the Crest, the Raith, and the Quorn subdivisions, with the Crest subdivision being abandoned. And so the line continued as the Raith and the Quorn subdivisions until 1931, when it reverted back to being called the Graham subdivision. And then the line continued operating until 1994, when it was abandoned by CN. So what we've done here is we've arrived at the location of Sowden Station. It's kind of weird, and I've actually seen it written sometimes. People have made the mistake. You want to say Snowden, which I think is a more common phrase. But this, in fact, is Sowden Station. So let's pause for a second, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So, Sowden Station was located at milepost 134.5 on the original line, and later 105.5 on the Graham subdivision. Again, we are just to the west of the English River. So there was a Grand Trunk Type E station constructed here in either 1911 or 1914. One of the books I have, a book source that I have, says 1911. The source that I have that comes right from Grand Trunk and CN basically says the application to build the station was submitted in 1913 and was approved in 1914. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with 1914. We don't know what happened to the station when it was removed, probably in the early 1960s, along with all the other ones. Sau-den remained a station on the line. The siding remained on the line until the line was abandoned in 1994. So, you know, basically, you'll be able to see that on the map. In terms of a couple of things, so first of all, kind of passing through this area, we've actually left the district of Thunder Bay. So here in Ontario, where the province is broken up into districts. So the district of Thunder Bay basically cuts off just behind us here, and so now we're entering the district of Kenora. So population-wise, in 1911 there were 5 people, according to the census, living here. In 1921 there were 9 people, and then 1931 there were 11 people. Now, again, I forgot to mention, so Grand Trunk used an alphabetical naming pattern. And so Sowden being the S station, with Reba being to the east, and Tannen, as I point north and south here, and Tannen being to the west. So again, Sowden being the S station. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you around and show you what you can see here. So let's take you around the station site here at Sowden. Over there you can see there's a big pile of garbage, old appliances, looks like an old stove, some other stuff as well. There are some camps just across the grade here on the east side of the grade, on the shores of the English River. So what we have here is what I think is the site of the station itself. It's pretty darn well pronounced. We have this big depression that's in the ground right here. So we'll work our way down in here. So again, you can see the depression, and inside the depression here, all the way around, we actually have this sort of wire mesh concrete. So we have some there, and inside here there's all kinds of debris. You can see there's metal and there's cans. Here you can see more of that concrete, and there's more there, and there's more here. Here you can see it very, very well. So you can see it's a very, very thin wire reinforced concrete. And then there's yet more over here. And then here, there's kind of like this sort of back part. Again, where we see these stations, what it looks like is that basically there's this sort of rectangular piece that is perpendicular to the grade, and then there's a piece that bumps out at the back here. You can see that there's metal here. There's more of that concrete here. And then you can see this piece at the back here. Look, there's more of this concrete. I'm stepping on it here. And there's more of it. That's coal. That's all coal in there. That's all coal. That's all light. Yeah, look, that's all coal. Oh, decapitate myself here. So here you can see more of that concrete material. All in here is a big pile of it right here. And there's some more over here. There's more metal. There's more of the concrete. There's more here. And then this depression in the ground continues over there. Feels like I'm stepping on more of it. You can see that there's more here. And there's a depression that continues that way. And then over here, we can actually see what look like, I don't know if these are trees, but they kind of look like piles because they're pretty darn solid. Yeah, that's a pile. You can see that. It's got, look at the nails sticking out of it. There's nails sticking out of it. There's nails sticking out of there. So these might have been the supports for the platform. Look, there's one there, because those things are pretty solid. There's more of the concrete here. There's a piece of, oops, that looks like clay pipe. Could have been from the chimney. And then over here, work our way back this way. There's all kinds of depressions in the ground, so this depression continues over here. Looks like a piece of sawn wood here. And then there's a depression in the ground here. You can see more of that concrete material. There's that piece of wood again. You can see another depression here. And over here, we have the well. So this is exactly the same as the one at Reba, and exactly the same as what we've seen in some of the other stations, right? So basically this cement pad with a metal plate on top, and there's the opening down there. Have anything to, I was gonna say if there's no rocks around here, I was gonna drop a rock and see if you could hear how far it would fall. There's a big open area over there. And this open area continues over here. You see how it's all open here. All in through here. It's all open. Some depressions in the ground here. All right, so we'll jump back up on the grade and continue working our way through the siding. Just wanted to show you this. So I guess I have to be a little bit more careful. So I felt something on the bottom of my shoe. This nail was stuck in the bottom of my hiking boot, and it was kind of in like this, like that. So could have had a very unfortunate accident here.